I feel like in the previous years, my intentions were to work toward trying to do a little, like, different things with my family, because I feel like that's where it starts. It's like, you can't go and try to help the community if you ain't even attempt to try to do nothing within your own family to bring your family together.
Big facts.
Right? And so even with me, again, going back, I could go back at least about 5 years and say I've been intentional about even trying to do the self-work, because I understand that in order for me to help even my family, I gotta help myself first.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy another day above ground. It's always a beautiful, wonderful, fantastic day to be alive. And real quick, right?
Hey friend, how you be?
I'm being and doing what I gotta do.
That's what's up. Welcome officially to the podcast.
Thank you.
Happy another day above ground.
Happy another day above ground.
Yeah.
We love this. We live this.
Yeah. This is a wave.
Yeah.
So, how is everything?
You know what? I think everything is just as it's supposed to be. Sometimes I feel like everything is upside down, and I've been getting beaten up, like, you know how, like, not beaten up like, you know, boxing, but like beaten up like how Martin looked when he got beat up by, was he boxing?
Tommy Hearns.
That, you see, remember how big his head was, and everything was just like that,
Yeah.
I mean, so, you know, but it's interesting because in the same time, it's like I look at everything like this is just how it's supposed to be.
Facts.
To challenge you, to make you see yourself in the midst of it all, like, and to really understand yourself in the midst of it all, because who are you?
Who are you? Because I'll introduce who are you? Because nobody, you know, let's pretend that the people who know me don't know you. The people who know you don't know me.
Okay.
So, just real quick, introduce yourself.
So the interesting thing is, before I even say my name, I feel like I'm a child of God.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. Whatever God you serve, I'm a child of that.
Gotcha.
That's number one. Number two, my name is Taaj Williams. I'm a Newark native. There are other places that I've lived outside of Newark, but Newark is my home. It's where I was born. It's where I was raised. It's where I live currently, and I'm a school teacher. Well, I shouldn't say a school teacher because I feel like that's not giving credit to my young adults. So I'm a high school teacher.
Gotcha.
At North Tech, which is actually where I went to school. So I just started working there because it's always been like a bucket list.
Yeah.
To go back and kind of give what my teachers gave to me, which was, it was a lot more than education. They gave us like care. They cared. They wanted, you know, us to be amazing. And mostly my business teachers. That's why I should be specific. And so that's what I wanted to do. Like, I'm now a business teacher at North Tech. So other than that, I have a daughter. I'm a mom. I'm so interested in like helping people, and so I've been learning more and more that in order for me to truly help anyone, to truly love anyone, to truly support anyone, I gotta learn, which has been a hard thing for me. I had to learn how to give those things to myself first.
Facts.
So now it's like I'm someone who I'm learning, and I'm challenging myself more and more to put myself first in everything that I do, because if there's no me, then it can't be no you. That rhymed.
It did.
That
Bars.
was bars. See what I'm saying?
Facts.
That's how I be going though. Let me say this too. This guy I know, right? One day he was like, "Do you do poetry?" And I'm like, "No, but I like it. I just never really like put myself out there to do it like that. Like, but I've always written poetry. My dad used to write. He loved poetry. So I got a nickname. You wanna know my nickname?
What's your nickname?
Poetry in Motion.
That's what's up.
I got that from my homeboy. So I don't really know. One day I'm gonna challenge myself though, and everybody will know me in the future as Taaj the poet. But right now I'm still working on getting this everything else together, and then that's gonna come later.
On some Love Jones shit, you're gonna be like Nia after motherfucking shit with the book. It's for a friend. I just, somebody I used to know and shit.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Well, I try not to make this like a podcasty podcast,
Okay.
if that makes sense. Like, I do have questions I want to ask because I'm interested. Like, you my friend, you my homie, so there's certain things that we always talk about. I feel like there's a certain level of these conversations that, especially in the 2020 COVID kind of world, how important solid relationships are, how important being solid in yourself is, how important doing things with intention is, which is today's like theme, so to speak. And I picked that specifically because I know when it comes to you, especially being a mom, being a teacher, like a lot of the things you do are from a perspective of intention. So my intention with the podcast today is to just explore that a little bit, have fun, talk, chill. I actually have a deck of cards that has questions from this company that, a budding podcaster.
Is this no one?
It is. I had called God and was like, yo, hook that up today. Feel me? But this joint from Pod Decks.
Nice.
It's just like mad different questions to like prompt as we go along into the convo. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. Welcome, my G.
Thank you. I'm
Thank
happy
you for
to
coming.
be here.
For real.
This is awesome.
This is a and I'm probably gonna say it for every podcast until I get to a space where it's not even a thought, but this is the process. Like figuring out how to set up the cameras in the car, figuring out how to, sponsored by the Nork Finest, the sirens in the background and shit. But it may not be, Regis and Kathy Lee.
It's better.
This is what we got.
It's better though.
Yeah.
'Cause you know what? They ain't got nothing on us.
They don't.
They ain't got nothing on
You
us.
feel me? So, yeah. One question that I be asking everybody, especially because it's the podcast, when you hear "Happy Another Day Above Ground," like what comes to your mind?
It gives me a little bit of life, because it's like we made it. We ain't have to wake up this morning.
Facts.
Nobody guaranteed us that spot, that position, that time,
Facts.
that chance. You know what I mean?
It's
So it's like, yo, every day, every time I hear it, when you say it, even with being a moment, it's like that's one of my things. It's like, but are you being present right now? Are you learning to just be, this right now is the moment.
Yeah.
You're gonna miss it if you weren't about tomorrow. You're gonna miss it if you weren't about yesterday.
Facts.
So be here right now.
Where your feet is.
We get it.
It's wavy. That's wavy. So in this life you've been living, Miss Taaj Williams, right? Intentionality, purpose. What was your intention coming into 2020, and were you able to process? I wasn't even recording that.
Get out of here.
It's recording here,
Okay.
so I'm good.
Okay.
But process.
Good.
What was your intention for 2020? Were you able to realize your intention for 2020?
my intentions, because every year around this time in December, it's like I don't know who doesn't do this, but it's been a thing for me for a very long time, where I just get very reflective. You know what I mean? I get quiet. I pull myself away from everyone and everything. Excuse me. And I just feel like I try to just clear everything out. I try to think about who made the biggest impact on my life in the year, who inspired me, who touched me, who did something to make my spirit know them. And I feel like those are the people that going forward I want to stick to. And so I'm very intentional about learning how to build and foster meaningful relationships.
Facts.
So not just relationships, but meaningful ones. Like if it's not meaningful, and if it's not, I heard somewhere recently, it's like if it's not bearing any fruit, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's time out for a lot of that, the older that I become and being intentional. I remember last year, 2019, as 2020 was rolling in, you know, I was just very intentional about wanting to bring a different perspective to the people in Newark, right? So after living here now for going on 4 years, it's like I've been able to observe and I can understand where many of us, where we are as a community. And you can see, like, I feel like it's a lot of division, a lot of, like, you know, a lot of cliques, a lot of politics. Even the non-political worlds are political now. It's like it's so much division.
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know, and it's division amongst the adults. So when you look at the youth are watching us, so they don't know what to do, they don't know how to be. So I feel like in the previous years, my intentions were to work toward trying to do a little, like, different things with my family, because I feel like that's where it starts. It's like, you can't go and try to help the community if you ain't even attempt to try to do nothing within your own family to bring your family together.
Big facts.
Right? And so even with me, again, going back, I could go back at least about 5 years and say I've been intentional about even trying to do the self-work, because I understand that in order for me to help even my family, I gotta help myself first.
Big facts.
So I've been working incrementally, you know what I'm saying, outwardly, progressively, starting from within myself, and, you know, really just learning. You know, like, I don't take nothing personal. I know what it means to be effective and non-effective, and we need communication, we need understanding. So I approach things with openness, like, listen. But, you know, depending on the level of awareness and understanding within others, everybody's not going to understand. They're not going to see. They're not going to even meet you where you are, because they don't even understand that you're coming down to meet them where they are. They don't get it. So I don't look at myself as someone who's, like, so high or low when it comes to, you know, being amongst my people. I don't think that. But in my own world and in my own lane, I've been elevating my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Intentionally learning, self-developing, putting myself around people that are doing the things that I want to do. You know, getting myself mentors, coaches. Like, I've been doing these things. I've been going back to study the things that I feel like is missing from my skill sets and to master myself, basically.
Yeah.
So when I come around other people who are not doing that, they might feel some type of way toward me because of the way I'm carrying myself now. I'm increasing my own value.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm increasing my own self-worth. So there are things that I have standards now. I didn't have standards before. Before, you could talk to me any kind of way and treat me any kind of way, and I still be like, you know what, I love you.
Yeah.
Now I'm like,
yeah,
I see you when I see you.
That's an hour later.
Yeah.
Facts. So what did you used to make space for that you no longer make space for? Like, things you used to be okay with, and now you like, it's a hard no. Like, outside of, you know, how somebody talked to you, but what's some other things that you don't hold space for anymore? Like, from 2019
to now
into 2020.
It's it's been a very hard thing because 2020 with the pandemic and seeing how people just left us lonely. They ain't have their family around. They ain't had nobody to talk to. A lot of people died in these hospitals lonely with no one, not hearing a voice, not knowing what was going on. They just was wiped out. That understanding, and then realizing that, like you said, every happy every day above ground, right? That's what you say? You know?
Happy another day.
Happy another day. Happy another day above ground.
Variations are cool.
Yeah. But it's like that, though. Like, it's a simple thing, but it's so powerful. So my thinking is now, it's like, whoa, I've been holding space for everybody around me to grow. That's been my thing. Because I'm not going to hold you accountable for something that we all have the responsibility to do. And we don't know what that means all the time. Yeah. Everybody's growing. Thanks. So I could hold space for you and allow you to grow. If you're a man that I'm in love with and I know that we might not be on the same page, right? But I'm going to hold space for you because you're growing. I'm growing. Let's grow.
Yeah.
But what I realize now after all of this is that I'm no longer able, I don't have the capacity any longer to hold space for anybody else to grow because I have to grow.
True. You steady putting helping somebody till they soil, and there's nothing being replenished in yours. It's not being moved around so the nutrients and shit could be put back in it. It's like, nah, but I got the nutrients. I got you. Come on, because when you get good, we can get me good. But like you said, it only works the one way. Right. If I'm good, we're good. If I'm not good, we're not good.
We're not good.
Because it's still going to be off balance. It's still going to be, like, out of whack. Right. Because now you got way more, and I don't have shit.
And I'm depleted.
Facts.
And that's how I've been feeling. Like, yo, I just feel like on one way that I'm looking at it, I feel empty, and I'm exhausted, and I'm hurt, and I'm tired, and I'm sad, and then I'm, like, not miserable, but I'm just like, ugh.
Yeah.
I don't have it. Yeah. But then on the flip side, I got abundance in everything. But I can't tap into my abundance if I'm still worrying about what I was doing over here. My abundance is coming back to me now.
Yeah.
So one of the things was I had to learn how to receive. I'm a giver naturally. So I'm giving everything.
Excuse me.
But now I'm learning how to receive. And it's like, okay, in order to receive, you have to have your hands open.
Facts.
So my hands are no longer occupied by the things that I was doing because I cared, because I wanted to. Now I'm like, yeah, those things. So really, to answer your question, is like it got to be about me now, and whoever don't like it, whoever feels a way about it, it's a personal thing.
Facts.
They gotta handle that. That ain't none of my business.
The funny thing is, like, and a lot of these conversations I've been having have been with people in my peer group, like people who are come up from the same era. We 80s babies, so we have a unique vantage point on life. Mm-hmm. Like, especially being in the digital age, coming from the analog age, but watching the digital age usher in. Like, we didn't have no clue that playing Oregon Trail on a fucking floppy disk back in the 7th grade was gonna be total access to the entire world in the palm of your fucking hands. I would not have fathomed that shit. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have fathomed that my 84-year-old grandmother be sending me text messages with emojis and everything. Meanwhile, my grandfather, who's the same age, same era, that nigga is in a... I'll be like, yo, he want the most smartest smartphone, but still don't know how to use it. The nigga told me his whole fucking phone bill doubled because he kept calling 411 from his cell phone. I'm like, what? Granddad. He's like, yeah, every time I call, they charge me $2 fucking. I didn't know. Like, nigga, what you mean? Anywho, so being in this unique vantage point, do you think that there's a certain level of value that our age group can add to the world, should add to the world, and why?
That's an excellent question. And I was listening to the girl, Adrienne Bayoun. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name, but she's the girl from the Cheetah Girls and the group 3LW. Now she's on The View. I think she's like the main co-host, the main host on The View. But she was
the one that's married to Jeezy, not Jeezy. Who her dude? He's
some I don't know. I know she's married, but yeah.
Her.
So, but she was basically saying how when she was younger, she would be doing stuff like reading the teleprompters or whatever she would read in Spanish or whatever on the TVs, and she would ask her friends to come over and like help her. That was fun to her. She was like, it wasn't fun to her friends.
Yeah.
But she said something that she enjoyed so much ended up becoming useful and helpful in what she was trying to do in terms of like now she's an entertainer. She just was used to doing things, and it got her in the door because she had done these things when she was younger. So what I took from that, and then she said it's something that, you know, she used to be laughed at about. People made fun of her. It was just like this mockery around it.
Yeah.
And she like, but who knew that the thing that everybody mocked me for was the thing that it afforded me this life that I have right now.
Yeah.
And I have a beautiful life. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that I get from that and I took from that was, you know, when it comes to teaching, you know what I'm saying? Like, people underestimate the value of a teacher. It's not just because, you know, I'm in a position to tell you what to do and make you do some work, but no, the responsibility to actually teach you something so that you can learn and that you can have a better future based off of the elevation or the development of your mind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, I look at like our previous generations, right? Like, we had a lot of people in our generations that they judged us for making the wrong decisions, but they never took the opportunity to sit down and try to teach us in a way that we can understand it.
Facts.
So as we evolve, we understand that we see things different and we know better, so we can teach our kids something that they may not see because we've been there, done that. Mm-hmm. But then you have a generation like ahead of us, a couple of the generations ahead of us, they don't see the value in removing out of themselves to switch it up a little bit, switch up the lenses and teach according to the lenses of the people that need to see.
Yeah.
So I understand as a parent, it can get very tricky because you're so emotionally attached and emotionally involved.
Invested. Facts.
So it becomes a thing where it's like, me personally, like now I can see the duality or maybe the lack thereof, because as a teacher, I'm effective. I know how to step into the minds of the children and teach them according to where they are and meet them where they are. But as the parent, it's like, don't you see what I'm trying to do for you? Don't you see that everything I do is for you? I'm sacrificing. I'm a couple steps ahead of you because I need to protect you about things that you don't even know. But you're fighting me. And so there's this friction.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like trying to just really understand, have that understanding, like, you know, no matter what, just keep going. In order to be effective at anything, you just got to keep going. So like our generation is pretty much responsible for doing something that a lot of the previous generations didn't do.
Couldn't do. Like, they wasn't even aware enough to, like, whooping your kid's ass. Mm-hmm. Don't do shit. And the adage, spare the rod, spoil the child, taking that shit literal, is why, in my opinion, I feel like our generation is valuable. Mm-hmm. Because we're the ones that actually like broke that generational thing. Mm-hmm. In order to talk to the head, in order to talk to the heart, in order to be effective at communicating a certain idea, mm-hmm. as opposed to just do what the fuck I said because that's what the fuck I said. It's like, well, here's the thing about that, right? You have a whole generation of do what the fuck I said, we don't have no window view into why. Like how you said, I'm a couple of steps ahead of you because I need to protect you from things that you don't even know I'm protecting you from. Mm-hmm. If our parents took the time to say, this is what sacrifice is, this is what I'm doing, because in order for you to be able to do X, Y, Z, W, Q, X, T, whatever the fuck letters you want to put there,
Right.
It won't happen if I don't do this. And I know this might feel like X, Y, Z. Prime example. I work, especially right now. I'm 40. I have 3 children. One about to be 20. One just turned 16. I'm at 15. She's about to be 16. How old is my daughter? 2. Carry the 7. 15. She about to be 16. And my youngest just turned 6. So it's like this space that I find myself occupying. I want to let you know why I'm operating the way I'm operating, because I'm not all over the place. Mm-hmm. I know where I'm at, but to my kids, they don't know that daddy's doing handyman shit because he's building a business on the side that he's hopefully be able to pass the baton to them. Mm-hmm. They don't know that when they see me on a computer late as hell editing, or I just tell them I make movies, that is something that I'm building to put them in the fold to be able to express themselves whatever kind of way they want. Mm-hmm. So the context that I give my daughter, the context that I give my sons, I saw my mother do the same thing. But my mother sold drugs. Let's just get that out the way. Shout out to Lucille. Thug life. My mother sold drugs, right? Like, was a butcher at the Poppy store. This was before the bodega was like really the bodega, the Poppy spot. Mm-hmm. My mother was a butcher, and she worked at the bank.
Wow.
To me, as a kid, my mother was never home. Mm-hmm. And when she was home, my mother was cursing and whooping ass. Feel me? So the context that I have now as a parent, I realized it was just stress. Mm-hmm. You're a single mom raising 4 children by yourself. None of the dads are actively participating in this evolution of the children that they help make. Mm-hmm. So the level of just do what the fuck I said, I get it. It came from it's all on me. So if you live or die, it's on my watch. You're not gonna die on my watch. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna thrive on my watch. Mm-hmm. But my mother didn't have the verbiage. She didn't have and they were a significant generation because they came from civil rights. My mother was like 13 years old when Martin Luther King was assassinated.
Okay.
Like, my mother lived through that shit. Mm-hmm. So it's like, imagine the value that our parents' generation could have bestowed on us had they been a little bit more
open.
A little bit more, which is today, intentional. I don't even think the word intention really became a thing until like the past 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
I can agree. Because no one knows that you have to be responsible for yourself. And one of the conversations that I just had with my daughter, and this is all ironic conversations because she and I are going through a really rough time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had to tell her, like, you have to, you have 4 more years. She's 14 right now. You got 4 more years. I'm responsible for you. Your father is responsible for you. When you're 18, you're going to be responsible for yourself. So in these next 4 years, let me do my job.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm the perfect mother. I'm not saying that I got everything all figured out. But everything that you was just saying, no, I don't have 4, but I do have 1, and it's just me. It's not. I spend a lot of days laying down crying myself to sleep because it's not easy. And knowing that you have to be self-sufficient and be able to take and own the responsibility of making sure that you're okay, making sure that you thrive. It's things that's going on in my mind that I have to be aware of. So I'm doing my part. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. I just need you to believe in me and trust me. Excuse me. So it's not easy, you know, but then it's like, again, everything is how you look at it.
Yeah.
From one minute I could look at it out of my mother's eyes, or my motherly eyes, I want to say,
yeah,
and say, this hurts. It doesn't feel good when I'm at odds with my daughter that I do so much for and I care so much about and I love so much, right? But then on the flip side, I'm like, okay, you know what? I could remove myself. I have the ability, which a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
They don't have the ability to come out that mommy mode and step into educator mode. I'm a teacher. This is what I do.
Yeah.
As a teacher, you can't take things personal. As a mother, you can. So it's a lot of mothers out there that are not teachers, but they take things personally. They don't know how to differentiate the two.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's like I'm grateful for that. And so stepping into that teacher mode is a understanding that it's not about me, and it's not even about the other person. It's about being effective.
Yeah.
And it's about the future, making the future good, because this is just a moment that somebody probably don't understand. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's us, whether it's the children, the understanding, the awareness is not there. So at some point they'll be able to look back and say, oh, that's what my mom was doing. That's what my dad was talking about. Like, I get it.
Yeah. I've had a few of those, especially like, rest in peace. It'll be 4 years next year that my dad's transitioned. And there's certain things that I find myself like, you fucking nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, looking at my pops, because our relationship was very like this. Mm-hmm. Like, how I talk to you is exactly how my dad talked to me. Mm-hmm. Like, very no holds barred, very like a person. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the thing I appreciate the most about me and my dad's relationship, because those hats, like how you were saying, being able to differentiate. When my father was out here getting high and hustling the world and sticking niggas up and all that shit, I don't think he realized he was a teacher. I don't think he did. But when he realized he was, it was like he was able to take off the I'm a dad hat, mm-hmm, and I'm a person hat, and I'm going to just talk to you like
this is
like
me.
A person. Like, mm-hmm, you my son, but you a person. And this is the shit that people would be more equipped in this world to handle certain things if they had this information. You feel me? What do you do to put yourself in a space to, as a mom, go at it with a certain level of intention and taking off the hat when you need to? Like, how did that become an awareness of yours, and when did you start to like sit in it more, like, you know what, I can actually not be none of these hats that I'm wearing. I could just put these shits in the closet and pick them up whenever I want to.
I think it comes with a level of self-awareness, you know, like the more that I get to really know and truly understand myself, mm-hmm, I just be like, all right, it is what it is, you know. That's crazy. But
I'm just seeing this nigga spinning the fuck out like shit. I'm like, oh shit, nigga.
Exactly. That's the whole thing. all this snow on the ground. That
All
was
this
too
snow,
much.
nigga.
That's too much.
I
That
just-
stuff,
I
your
seen
heart.
it. I seen that shit. Like, this nigga's about to bang into this shit hard as hell. Like, my bad.
Oh, both of us, we both saw that because my heart started beating fast and said, I ain't even know what to say. I ain't even know what was happening right now because all I could look at was the car speeding like that in reverse. That was
Nigga.
crazy.
Man.
All right. Well,
Breathe. Woosah, namaste, all that shit. Nigga.
I was about to say something along the lines of this is one thing that I could say. You know, we are products of our environments. I always say we are products of our environments, but we are also the solutions. So we're the product, we're the problem, the product, and the solution. Right? Or maybe I would say we are the problems of our environment and we're the solutions. We are products, no doubt.
Facts.
But when we look at it in a different way, like, all right, so what are we gonna do to fix it?
Yeah.
What am I gonna do to change the trajectory
How
of
can
things?
I play my part?
How even goes back to this whole thing, right? Like the generational curses. Like, how do we break those? What do we do differently that puts us in a situation where we can have something different? So, like with my daughter, you know, I had a conversation with my oldest brother. My brother is incarcerated right now. He has a lot of insight, but it's a lot of things that, you know, like one thing within my immediate family, we never took the time to really sit down and have a conversation and dig about our different perspectives. It's like, for me, I'm the youngest in a sense, like of like really my generation. So you got like people, the elders in the older generations, they have their mindsets and they have their perspectives and perceptions, and it becomes a battle where it's like it's pushing it onto mine. And then it's like, I'm not sitting here trying to disagree with you or agree. I just want to speak and be heard. And when that can't happen, don't expect for me to do it either, because I know you already. I watched you grow. I watched all of y'all. I grew up watching everybody. I'm an observer. So it's nothing you could tell me that I don't already know about you. So, but I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable knowing, because people don't want to, they want to.
Yeah, guard up.
People don't want you to see the real them. And so for me, I it's not a lot that I haven't seen. It's not a lot that I don't know. And I'm still learning, and I'm so full, you know what I'm saying? But in the same token, I'm so grateful for my experiences, and I'm grateful for my elders, everyone, my siblings. I'm grateful for everything that they bring, and they bring me value. But it becomes a problem when they don't want to acknowledge the value that I bring, and they don't want to acknowledge the perspective that I have. And it's not to negate theirs, it's not to counter theirs, it's not to do any of that. It's just to be there. And one of the things that I realize is, when we talk about having a seat at the table, right? The first seats at any table should be within our family. And everybody should have all of their perspectives on the table. If we know, then we're able to move forward together and more powerful and more strengthened. It's not about your downfalls. We all got them. We all got flaws. But we all should be coming together and building together. When I can't do that with somebody, I don't care if you're my mother, my father, my sibling, my aunt, my uncle. If we can't sit down and do that, and I can't be respected for the perspective that I bring, then we can't. We can't.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
True.
So ultimately, I get there from being able to step outside of myself sometimes and consider my daughter's perspective. I might go off because I got feelings too, and I'm tired of succumbing my feelings. I'm gonna get my feelings out. Like you said, we got popped and beat and whooped without having a chance to be heard.
You could just, but can I say something? Hell no.
No.
Yeah.
I was telling somebody, like, I remember I had an argument with my sister. Me and my sister always used to fight. I don't even know why, but it just used to be weird. Like, I felt like she used to pick two.
Oh yeah, she older.
Yeah.
Me and my younger brother, we 2 years apart.
You picked on him?
No, he used to be a fucking terror.
Yo, my brother to this day, he is a 38-year-old asshole. He is. I love that look. I love him to fucking death. Cause he's the type that when we were younger, I wasn't a fighter. Mm-hmm. He used to be trying to fuck niggas up. My age, older than me, like that's my brother. But he would also torment the shit out of me. Like
that sound like my sister.
Yeah.
That sound like my sister. She's 2 years older than me. And it was just always this thing. Even now, like later in life, like I hosted an event one time and I gave her a shout out because I'm like, yo, because of her, I knew how to fight. I wasn't a fighter either. I didn't I'm such a peaceful, not kumbaya, but like, come on, let's just go together. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of person. I'm not a fighter. I don't like to argue. I don't like to do none of that. But I realize more and more that sometimes it's not so much about arguing. It's about being able to make sure that you make your voice heard. Yeah. And even if that means you remove it. You know what I'm saying? And then even when it comes to fighting, like you're going to have to defend yourself. I had to fight guys that I was in relationships with. You know what I'm saying? Just because I had to defend myself, I wasn't just going to let them hit me. You're not going to ever be able to get that. No, I'm not going to ever, step outside of myself and hit a man. My dad, my brothers always told us, like, don't hit no man, right? But in the same token, it's been men that has hit me and they had to learn a whole nother experience when it came to me.
Yeah.
And they probably will never do it again. Like, hopefully to any other woman. Yeah. Because I don't play with people.
Like old girl from Harlem Nights. Oh, you want to hit people with garbage cans?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm thankful for my sister for that. You know what I'm saying? Because at some point you will have to fight and defend yourself. But at the end of the day, like. I will always have this feeling like, I don't want to hurt the people that I love.
Yeah.
I think we're just supposed to be gentle and kind with one another because we got to fight the world when we come outside of our home. I'm tired of fighting everybody. If I got to fight with you, then I'll remove myself. Yeah. And then I'm going to love you from afar.
If I got to fight with you, I don't think I can really fuck with you.
Yeah.
I was telling my daughter that last week, actually, because her and my youngest, they're 10 years apart. With this pandemic shit, he had a whole swollen ass eye thing last week. He couldn't go to school. And she's in school. Homeschool, obviously. And they bickering. They end up calling my wife at work mad times. My wife called me like, I just had to go off on your fucking kids because they just too much, right? So I'm telling my daughter, I came home, my son came to the door like, he ain't know how to take it though. He like, wait a minute, is like daddy mad? Like, is he happy? Because he came to the door like, what are you doing here? Like, I mean, how did you get here? My point, I'm telling my daughter, in this house, both of my kids, in this house, this is our refuge from the world. This is where we come to retool and recharge and re-strengthen. Here in this house, this is our fucking sanctuary. We don't have time to be fighting and bickering and arguing with each other when we got the whole entire world just waiting to do that. Yeah. Like, the world is like, oh, you want negativity? Check this out. We got all kinds of negativity. We got, you know what I'm saying? We got all types of shit out here for you.
Yeah.
And to be in the world and, go through the ebbs and flows and then come back home and unleash that shit on the people that you live with kind of sucks a lot of ass.
I feel that, and not for nothing. Like, so one of the things that I studied was early childhood development and education. That's another thing that helped me understand that, because I don't think, had I not studied that, I don't think I would be able to have this duality about me of being a teacher and a mother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would just be a mother.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I'm very grateful for that, because it's like when you learn the way something works, like our brains,
yeah,
it makes you see things differently. And it makes you give things that respect. I can respect where my daughter is right now in her growth and development process. But being able to step outside of that and still be like, I'm still a mother and I still feel it. So I take my aggression out. Like, she got a side of me last night that she probably never saw. Because I said everything that I wanted to say, and I felt all the feelings that I needed to feel. And I made sure she knew it as well as her father. So it was like, no, I probably shouldn't have did that. But that's me owning my shit. That's me owning, listen, I'm still growing too.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm going to get back to teacher mode tomorrow.
Yeah.
But today,
you going to get these hands.
Y'all going to get all of this.
Yeah.
And I don't care how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Ever.
Facts.
So, but when it comes to that whole understanding of like, okay, wanting to break the generational curses or do something different, it's like, you know, I know we got to do it with love.
Finesse.
Yeah.
Some grace. It take time to get there though. It do. Cause you got everybody's in process.
Yeah.
Nobody has it figured out.
Yeah.
And newsflash, nobody can figure it out for you. You have to figure it out for yourself. So at the end of the day, it's like, to get to a point of grace, to get to a point of understanding, to get to a point of awareness, to get to a point of conscious energy, to get to a point of intentionality, that shit in itself is a heavy ass fucking lift.
It's a load.
Because in order to get grace, you have to be ungraceful. In order to have understanding, you have to be misunderstood. And like, you have to have it in order to be like, you know what? I think I want that better. Like being impatient, right? Being impatient makes you want to be patient.
Yes.
Once you become aware of how your impatience isn't really serving.
Yeah.
It's not serving. So, one more question, then we're going to switch it up.
Wait, let me say this real quick, but while the thought is here,
Go ahead.
like when it comes to the whole thing of being able to switch roles, right? You had asked a question a little while ago when you said, like, in terms of like what with this, like the whole transition of 2019 coming into 2020, what did I have to release or whatever in order to like, what did I have to release in order to make space for something else, something along the lines of that. And my answer to you was, I have to let everybody else go so that I can grow. Now, the humbling part of that, right? The very, very humbling part is that, unfortunately, when it comes to my child, I can't do that with her. Like all the grown-ups, the family members, the friends, the people who were in my life taking up space but not necessarily really holding the same space for me, it's a wash and it's all good and it's all love. I don't harbor no feelings. I don't harbor nothing. It's just that I gotta use that energy now for me. But the humbling part is being a mother. I can't do that with my daughter. So I have to keep trying to figure it out. So it's not a matter of being set or stuck on one way. It's just trying to like analog it, keep turning the channel to try to figure it out, because at the end of it, like, I know that I'm ultimately responsible for my daughter, and it means that even if I have to put some space in between us so that she can see me from a different lens, maybe it's that whole familiarity breeds contempt. Is it contempt or content? Because I always mix it up.
I don't know.
Whatever one it is, that's it.
Start with a C.
But that's it, you know. So it's that thing of putting some space there so that she can hopefully see me from a different lens and realize these things, because there is opportunities, you know. She's very blessed. So at this point, it's like, but I still know that it can't just fully 100% be about me, at least for the next 4 years until she's 18, because she is my responsibility. So even if I gotta maneuver, switch things up a little bit, maybe it's not gonna work out this way. Maybe we gotta, you know, try something different. But either way, I have to hold space for her to grow, just like I gotta continue to work on myself and grow myself up.
True.
So,
I mean, as long as you hold in the same space for yourself, that's all you really can do.
right.
I'm noticing, especially this year, my intention for 2020 was to make space for the family.
Yeah.
Make space for my family financially, emotionally, mentally, like to make space. And in setting out with that intention of making space, what ended up happening as a result.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was getting excited because you're one of the things that I love about you are just the qualities.
It's all good.
Just like hearing you speak about your family, the fact that you are intentional about these things is it's integral. It's so needed when it comes to like building anything. And so many of us are like, we're missing that. And I'm sorry, I should have.
Nah, you good.
So many of us are
Sponsored
missing
by-
it.
Ran the phone.
But we're missing it. We're missing the mark because we need it. We need more of that. Even if it's not with people like, this is one thing I want to discuss too. It's like, everything doesn't have to be a romantic relationship.
True.
Everything doesn't have to be romanticized and being a thing where we are an item. Like, you are who you are. You have your family. You have your goals. You're a human being in this world pushing yourself forward. I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I respect you for that. It doesn't mean that me and you have to come together to join forces in a sexual way. We don't. That's not always the thing. That's not always what we're here for.
True.
And we can respect one another's boundaries and build even a doper relationship by saying, you know what, there are things in place, but those things are your personal private things.
Yeah.
And I respect those things. So it's this thing where like nowadays, you know, it's very rare to come across like a male type of relationship that can just respect you for being a human being and not a woman with a fat ass or a woman with big boobs and a woman that's beautiful and just deep down inside. We already know everybody is always looking and got these kind of, I want to say perverted eyes, but it's not really perverted. Maybe it's not. It's just the whole idea that you're beautiful and you being beautiful makes me want you in a different type of way. And it's okay because we're human. Thanks. But how do we control that and really see a little bit deeper? Because you might get to a point where you see something in me that you can't stand or you think is utterly disgusting or something. And then all of that shit is going to go out the window. And then now you done wasted a whole person because of your expectations.
Facts.
So yeah, whew. I got that out. Thank you.
Listen, I told you, intention this year is to make space. So this space that I've been creating inadvertently made me realize, like, I really, although I'm and I appreciate what you're saying, I realized I still had the man to fuck up. I realized I still had to, like, as a man, there's a certain level of security that you get from being around a fucking man. Like a man dipped in masculine energy, guided by feminine energy, and being able to, like, pivot, intertwine and play in the shit because that's what it's meant for. I wouldn't have got that without setting the intention that I had. Did I hit the mark every time? Hell no.
No, right.
I'm a bumbling fucking idiot in the goddamn shit. Like, oh shit, I didn't mean to do. I'm sorry. Like Steve Urkel and shit. Like, I went to catch something that I was about to break and broke something else in the process. But what I respect about it is coming into December with the realization, like, yo, you really got a man to fuck up. It was like a switch flipped to be more intentional, to be more purposed in what I'm doing. Not what I'm about to get out of this, but what I get to give when I do this. I get to, although they be 17-hour fucking days, I get to go hard for my family. I get to do that. I get to be something that when my daughter looks at me, she has a relationship with me as a man that when it comes to being in relationships with other men, she has a standard. It's like, nah.
Right.
Because men don't act like that. My father don't do that
My
shit.
father ain't do that.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So it's like, and the fact that she's not my biological daughter makes it even like more like that space. It's even more. Because it's like, I want you to know through what I do how hard I go for you, as opposed to what I'm telling you. Sweet nothings.
And then it's like you're being that example. That's how the kids learn.
Facts.
So a lot of men don't realize it's like, oh, I'm a dog women out all my life. But then I'm going to get to a point where my daughter's an adult. Then I'm going to change my ways. Maybe not even change my ways. But I'm going to try to help my daughter go in this way, right, of knowing that I love her, knowing that I care for her, which is needed. But then you missed out on an opportunity to show her what it's like to treat a woman.
Yeah.
So you're doing these things for your wife.
Yeah.
You're showing her in a different way, right? Yes, you can be intentional about the things that you're doing, but it's your actions that's going to speak louder. Everybody knows this. We know this, but we don't really talk about it.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So like for me, I never seen my father do a lot when it came to my mother when it comes to being warm and fuzzy. He drove trucks. He came home from work. My mother fed us. You know, they kept a roof over our head. They did the things that were necessary, and I'm so grateful for my mother and my father like no other. Like I love them so much. Like just the memories that we have is awesome.
Yeah.
And what I realized, even with me understanding early childhood development and education, and even now with my own daughter, now that she's grown up to be a teenager, the things that were missing is the things that I can only hope that my daughter get. Because I didn't know, growing up with my father and the men around me, I didn't know that I needed to have standards when it come to men. I just knew that if they told me something that I liked, if they made me feel warm and fuzzy, I was like, you want me?
Care about me.
You like me.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. Where we going? What time I gotta be ready? You coming to get me? What we doing? But it had to be mutual. It had to be like, oh, I like you too. Yeah. Let's go. That's all I thought it took. I was so wrong. But then now I know, like, now that I got standards about myself, right? It's like, yo, like, you gotta do you gotta do a little bit more, because what's on the outside of me is so much more like, you don't even know the core. When you know the core, then you're gonna be like, damn.
Yeah.
That's why it's this whole thing when like in the world right now where like everybody is so fixated on women and their bodies and their looks and all that stuff. But if you really understand what it means to really like find someone of value and of substance, like that whole inner being is a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother world.
Thanks.
So a lot of guys like that I met and that I did, let them really get to know me. We still good to this day. We still got love for one another. Like anybody that I ever really truly loved, I never stopped loving them. But I realized at some point they don't even recognize the woman that's standing in front of them, even at my worst.
Yeah.
So when you do see me showing up with, everybody like to see the red bottoms, you like to see, and you're so used to seeing everybody with their bodies exposed and looking the part with makeup and all this other shit. If that's what you want, go ahead, get that. But over here, I'm building a whole fuck a empire. Like I'm building a dynasty.
Yeah.
Up under all of y'all.
Big facts.
So at the end of it, like you could go get that, but I'm gonna be over here, and I'm gonna still love you. But
yeah, they don't. To me, honestly, women are still water. Like y'all run deep. It's a different space. Like even this year, doing business with women is an intentionality of mine. Just because I understand that the value that my wife brings to me She's the one that coined be in the moment, be in the moment. Because at first it was just in the moment. I was like, yeah, in the moment, it's like really cool, and there's like presents and blah, blah, blah. And she was just like, doing dishes. She was like, I like it. She was like, I do. Went back to doing dishes. 20 minutes later or so, she's like, yo, you should name it Be in the Moment. Because it's like, she's like, right? Be, because it's you.
Right.
So you're B, and you're in the moment,
Yep.
but then you're present. So you're like being in the moment. And I was like, that's what's up.
That's it.
So there's a certain value that I understand how the duality works.
Yeah.
It's like I'm starting to see it past this sexual energy. Because for me, growing up, not to say like, I love sex.
Right.
I put it like that. I wasn't never like a sexually promiscuous guy. Like, I wasn't the nigga that had to have mad bitches to be on some like, I got mad bitches, I get mad pussy. And I was never that guy. Like, I never was that guy. If anything, I'm the worst fucking guy to date because I am the fucking relationship type of guy, right? But being in this relationship with my wife started to peel back layers of like, you can exchange this energy without it having to be anything other than this exchange. It doesn't have to be, why does it have to be anything other than whatever this energy that we're siphoning around with each other? Why does it have to be anything other than that?
Right.
It don't have to be. So, anywho, what I wanted to ask was, if you could say something to somebody without any backlash, who would it be and what would you say?
Ooh. Without any backlash. Ooh. So you putting me on the spot.
And you can ask me too. Like, for real.
Without any backlash. The reason why I'm gonna say it and then I'll tell you the reason after that. It would be my mother. Because my mom and we have a very interesting relationship. Like, I wasn't always very verbal growing up. Like, I was to a certain point. It was like, I remember one time, I don't know if I said this, I feel like I said this recently, but maybe not right now. But I remember one time me and my sister was fighting and arguing. And then my dad, like, he smacked me. And I remember that feeling of being like just hurt, violated, because it was like, it wasn't so I was mad. And I remember my voice was raised, because typically when I get upset, I get, yeah. And then growing up, I didn't always know how to speak to a point where it was like, just say how you feel. You don't have to yell it out.
Yeah.
But growing up, that was like my environment. I almost want to say I grew up in a very hostile environment like that. Like, everybody fought, yelled. It was either that or it was calm. But it was no in between. There was no family discussions. There was no, okay, how do you feel? Why do you feel that way? No making sense of anything. And so when my dad hit me that one time, I just feel like after that, I just didn't want to talk anymore. So a lot of things was just like, I just didn't talk. I mean, things were going, things that happened that shouldn't have happened to me, I didn't talk about, I didn't share with many people. I held on to them. So once I became older, actually like a few years ago, my father died. It'll be 3 years like next week. But like, even like a few years before that, like, you know, my parents had moved away, and I called them You know what I'm saying? And I just felt like, okay, your voice matters.
Yeah.
I'm teaching my daughter that her voice matters, and so that she can get comfortable with not burying things. You know what I'm
And
saying?
not feeling like she gotta turn up whenever she need to express some shit.
Yeah. And but even like, so it's a couple of things that has been happening with her, and I'm like, you know, if you keep burying things, you're gonna get to a point when you're older like me, and you're gonna have to go unpack and dig up a whole bunch of shit in order for you to be able to move forward.
Yeah.
So I did that simultaneously with raising you and then growing up to be a mother that can hopefully one day be able to lead by example, because I have to be able to be a little bit more stable. So if there are things that's going on with you in your world right now, don't bury it. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out how do we handle it so that you can move forward in light and love and not heaviness, because it's always going to show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, it always showed up for me, and I didn't understand until I became a little bit more intentional about what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like, why am I accepting this? Why am I, you know what I'm saying? Everything matters.
Thanks.
So that question, you know, it would be to my mom, like, I understand that, you know, they come from a generation that everybody is quiet, but my mom, you know, intentionally, she gets quiet when I don't know if it's when she's challenged or when, you know, I have tried to have conversations. She don't like to talk, even now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, I love my mom. My mom is well respected. She has this thing where a lot of people love her, but at some point, like, you got to be able to take ownership and accountability for the things that you did wrong, even as a mother, because I'm doing it right now as well. It's not making me any less than a mother, but for you to just not say nothing and be silent continuously and not want to address the things that I try to bring your way, it's like, I'm gonna honor you as my mother, because you know, I'm gonna always do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? But even to the point where, like, I gotta take care of myself first. It's healing that I had to do from things that my mom didn't do. Do I blame her? I used to, but then I look at it like she ain't have it. So I can't be mad at her for not giving me something that she didn't have. But in the same token, when you become a parent, this is one of the reasons why I started my company, I don't know, Proactive Parenting Solutions. With being a parent, you have to be intentional about parenting. If it's not something that's intentional, by default, you already lost.
This is a fact, because I look at my oldest. My oldest, I was very intentional up until a certain age. It's like around when my son got like 13, the intent changed. I realized there was a lot of shit that I had to do to grow me up, and doing it simultaneously with my son, it was a balancing act that I couldn't. I started realizing all the shit that I had buried, like you were saying. When I look at my youngest son, it was intention from conception. Like, we talked about having a baby. We planned having a baby. The plan to have the baby just brought in a different energy, like you said, being intentional. When it come to King, it's like, he's 6, but he's reading on a 2nd grade level. He does math in his head, like at 6. Multiplication, nonetheless. He's a reader, like avid reader. His creativity is like, he just can do whatever. He doesn't feel like there's nothing he can't do. I mean, he's still afraid of the dark sometimes, but, you know, what kid isn't? But my point is, like, when I look at my oldest son and I look at my youngest son, the intentionality in between is so... I be looking at my oldest son sometimes like, my nigga, you want a do-over, my nigga? Like, excuse me, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, let me give you a do-over real quick, because the way I see it now, I get why the church or most religious sects say marriage before children.
What they're not saying is intentionality breeds a different relationship.
Yep.
They don't say that. But, man, parenting is... When you are intentionally parenting, it's a world of difference between, like, just trying to figure that shit out. And, you know what I'm saying? You weren't expecting it. And because you weren't expecting it, everything that you're doing in the process says that you weren't expecting it.
Right.
Like, you don't show up. You don't show up in the way that you really could or capable of showing up. In spurts, in times, in, you know, certain situations, but it's not a constant thing because there was no intention. So the intention of trying to put this thing in the fold becomes the thing, and then you get it. But when that shit is like, first and foremost, like, we about to have some kids. All right, cool. It's like when you hungry as hell and you intentionally go get something to eat. You don't go get something that you don't like by accident.
Yep.
You go get what the fuck you want.
Right.
The intention is like, all right, I'm about to get up, put one foot in front of the other, take my ass in the kitchen. I got some onions, I got some peppers, I got some garlic. You know what I'm saying? I can chef up what I want because this is what I want. This is what I want to go do. All right, now, y'all. All right, so I like to ask this kind of question just to get your, you know, perspective. But, and it's not a heavy question. It's actually a light question. I just be wanting to know. If you could have a superpower. Jesus Christ, guys. I mean, we're only recording a podcast. Thank you. If you could have a superpower, what superpower would it be and why? Do you need choices or... Okay.
I do feel like I have a superpower, right? I feel like one of them is love, because I have this amazing innate ability to love beyond my feelings and beyond my expectations. That helps me. It guides me because I realize that love is not about possession, right? To truly understand what that means is to truly know that it means freedom. So a lot of people, I don't think, get that. Love is associated with what you do for me, not what you give and who you are.
Facts.
So that is a beautiful thing that I feel within, and I've always had it. I just didn't know how to, you know, really verbalize it. And so I hold on to that. It helps me. It fuels me, and it gives me life. You know what I mean? So, but the other thing would be to just hear how people talk about you when you're not around. You know, I feel like we live in a society right now where like everything is like top security or top secret, including the way we really feel about people. And it's like right, wrong, or indifferent, good, bad, or good or bad. You know, we can all see the bad in people. It's easy to see the flaws. But when you really look at somebody, you see the good in them and you just really trash all the bad. It's like, can that be a thing? You know what I'm saying? So for me, I try to do that. You know what I'm saying? I try to do that, and I do that. Like I've seen things, but I don't want to let those negative things of people determine who they are. And I definitely don't want to paint any pictures to anyone about people's flaws, because what does that say about me?
True.
I can be honest and say how I feel and my experiences in the moment, right? But the reality is I'm still going to try to find the good in somebody and reflect that. That's the reflection that I want to bear. Yeah. So I'm interested to just, that superpower would be to literally just hear, how other people really feel and what other people really think about me. Because whether it's good or bad or whatever they see in me, it helps me to understand the reflection that they choose to bear.
Interesting. I just want a super speed.
Super speed, like just haul ass?
Like just be able to go wherever
Okay.
Fast as fuck. Just out. Like,
Okay.
babe, I need to. Oh shit. Say less. You know me?
I love
That
it.
or being able to fly.
Okay.
Cause like my innate superpower, I can make complex simple.
Yes.
I like that superpower. I like that somebody could be like, man, the shit was whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you mean such and such? Like, nigga, yes. I love that. Outside of that, yeah, super speed or being able to fly.
That's dope.
Cause it'd be real nice to get the fuck up out of here real quick. Like, look, Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Feel me? And either way, I could get there super speed. Ain't nobody gonna see me. I'm out. I could grab whoever I want to grab. Like, babe, we gone. But what about the? Not to.
But you know, it's a lot of people in this whole like metaphysical world and realm of things that really feel like they have that as a superpower.
Really?
Like they feel like if they, you know, whether it's, you know, through meditation or just, you know, learning to experience mindfulness over a long period of time, right? Like, for example, Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra. They are two people who they just have this chemistry with one another. I've read their books. I've listened to some of their shows. Like, they are just my guides in a certain sense. You know what I'm saying? So, but they would always talk about how they meet each other in the field, and it's almost like we don't have to talk. We don't have to see each other, but we are connected. Our spirits are connected. We could do whatever we want to do in another realm that doesn't even require us physically. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that that's so dope, and I often feel like that with a couple of my friends. Like we meet each other in the mind, in the spirit, in the energy, in another energy realm of a world. And when we do get together and connect, it's almost like we don't miss the beat.
Facts.
You know what I mean? It just is what it is. So.
All right. Last thing. Picked up a couple cards from the deck. This is so cool. And they have a whole app that got like everything. How to start conversations, icebreakers, this or that, what ifs, like mad shit. So I'll go with this one. What is something you hate but wish you loved?
Whew. What is something that I hate but I wished I loved? Ooh. Can I skip? No, ain't no skips.
You
ain't
can.
No
I got 3 to choose from.
All right, let's skip because that's
All right.
too much. That's too much for my brain right now.
Got you. If everything in your house had to be one color, what color would you choose?
Damn it. I would say pink because that's my favorite color.
Okay. Pink couch, pink floor,
Everything.
pink walls, pink silverware.
I could do it. I could do that.
I could see it though.
I could do it.
Come in the crib, that shit'll look real artsy. Super artsy. Me, if it was one color for everything in the crib, that's a very interesting. I never thought about that. Cause my knee jerk reaction is like white.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, that shit gonna get dirty. You know what I'm saying?
It's just so white. It's so
white.
vanilla, like
Then
blah.
I'm like, yo, I could do black. But I'm like, black is sexy.
It is.
But you gotta have like shit to make it pop. So
Right.
it can't be all black.
But check this though, because I was thinking that too, because that was going to be my first reaction was to say black. Because when you think about like, number one, it doesn't say that you can have variations of color.
Ooh. It just
So
say
with
one color.
it just say one color. So with pink, you could have
Mad
soft
variations,
pink, hot
facts.
pink, any variation of pink.
Cheat coding the question and shit. Okay, this is true. So I can have
Look with black, right? You could do like matte black,
true,
shiny black,
true,
satin black.
True.
Ooh. Yeah. So okay.
Okay. I think I'm gonna go black.
Okay.
Cool. Last. What things do you do every day that you wish could be automated?
That's interesting because that's kind of the space that I am in my world right now, being a very intentional person and wanting to grow my businesses. So just automating everything that I want to work without me. So I realized that everything in business, it can work, me being an operations person, right? Everything can work without you being there. You just have to be able to take the time and the energy to set it up. But there are some things, right, that I can't automate being a mother. We can't automate being a parent. We can't automate growing and realizing, that we need to take time sometimes to reflect, and so that we can have a little bit of forgiveness for ourselves to be able to grow. Forgiveness to grow. Like, you gotta forgive and let go to grow, right? Thanks. So, but it would be the things that I can't automate would be my businesses and making sure that they can withstand and sustain, right, and grow. So maintain, sustain, and grow, right? That would be my answer.
Me, if I could automate turning these sounds off, that child T's like, hey man, you know you didn't eat nothing today, my nigga. You feel me?
Exactly.
If I could automate anything, it would be how I respond to my intuition. Like when my intuition is like, go left. I wish I could automate the adhering to that. Because it's like learning that my intuition is actually a thing, something that I had it been brought to my awareness younger. Okay. I'd be able to kind of tap into it with more, get more use out of it type of thing.
I like that.
I wish that the intent, you good. I wish that the intention, my intuition would be like on calendar invite status. Like, all right, it's going on your calendar. Like, intuition, that's just like, yep, we're going to set the reminder. You feel me? I think that would be cool, especially learning how, paying attention to how that shit actually serves a purpose. You feel me? So, we've been rocking. Like I said, this is the process. I'm learning how to be a good podcast host and shit. If you could leave some words of wisdom or drop a gem on this audience of 1 million people, because mad people listening to this shit right now.
That's right.
What would it be?
It would be to be intentional about self-mastery. And no one knows what that looks like. No one knows what that means. But what the intentionality means that you are going to take risks. It means that you are going to put yourself out there when nobody else is willing. So that means you're going to have to, learn. Like, so for example, one thing I used to always pray for was strength. I didn't realize that what I was saying out of my mouth was, God, universe, do something that's going to strengthen me. So you're going to be challenged. You're going to be stretched. You're going to be mocked. You're going to be disrespected. You're going to be misunderstood. Church. You're going to have all of these negative things that's going to come that's going to strengthen you like a diamond, right? Like Eric Thomas you would always say, like, people always want to say they want to be a diamond and he's like, but you're not willing to go and get cut like a diamond. True. You know what I'm saying? Diamonds, they're beautiful, but their process from being pieces of coal all the way up into this beautiful thing, it's like you got to put some respect on that. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's easy for us to do it to others, but when we're going through it and when we are that, it doesn't feel good. So I appreciate the people in my world, you know what I'm saying, that see it and that tell me and that handle me as such. You know what I'm saying? And so that helps me with giving grace to myself and being more intentional about the fact that I gotta keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that would be it. It's like, be intentional about not giving up, because, you know, ultimately the goal is to thrive. You know what I mean? It's to thrive and to leave here empty, right? Like Dr. Miles Monroe said, he was like, you know, live full, die empty. So if we're not living full and dying empty, then we're going to die full. And the graveyard, like Les Brown say, is full of that. He said the graveyard is the most expensive. Did he say expensive? The most, not expensive, but
valuable.
He was like, because everybody died with their dreams inside of them.
Yeah. On that note, my imparting gem would be, and no pun either, it just so happened, right? To sing your note. The reality is, this note that God, the Creator, blessed us with, our only task is to sing or play or dance or whatever we want to do with this note that we see fit, right? Because once we die, that note is never going to be heard ever again.
That's it.
Ever. Nobody's not gonna hear sponsored by the niggas loud ass engine. But nobody's ever gonna hear that.
Right.
So it would be, like you said, self-mastery. Master that note.
Yes.
You're the only person that's capable of putting it in the world. You're the only person that's capable of having you're the one that has it. That's it. So play your note. Don't let nobody try to tell you that the note you playing is wrong, it's out of key, it's out of tune. That's what it's supposed to be. How do you tune up your note? How can you tell somebody how to tune up their note? When we still learning how to tune up our note. So play your note, get busy.
And can I say something
Go
on
ahead.
that note?
Go ahead.
On that note. You know, that's really our main responsibility. Like, is to figure that out. And it's to help our children learn to figure that out. That's the next responsibility. And then the third responsibility is that once we have done that, then now we could be the orchestra.
Facts.
We could go into things in unison and have our community and have our tribes and the beautiful things that these things produce.
So, my friend, I appreciate your time. I really do, because I keep saying it, like, who the fuck am I? You know what I'm saying? Like, just got this stupid ass podcast. I'm bullshitting. But I do thank you for spending the time with me, chopping it up, being vulnerable, allowing a piece of yourself to be in the world in a very trying to make it be something. Like, I appreciate your rawness. I appreciate your you-ness. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
For people who want to, get in contact with you, follow what you're doing, be a part of your initiatives. You believe your Cash App and all that.
Cash App, I'm gonna leave that first. No, I'm not gonna do that. Well, my name is Taaj Williams. That's my name on all platforms. Instagram, I'm more active on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook, it's like I have different modes for the different mediums, right? Yeah. So LinkedIn, Taaj Williams, that's more my professional, me trying to build that up. to encompass all that I am. It's so many things that I do. I wear many hats. Instagram is more just, social, my life as a mother, as a woman, just trying to, learn more and more about self-care and my relationship really like with my daughter and my family and the things that I love. And kind of like trying to just like spread love, spread good vibes, be a light in a little bit of darkness. Facebook, I'm more so there, like I opened up a little bit more on Facebook. I have a following there of just more people who know me from like all areas of my life. So it's like I engage from that aspect of y'all all my people. Some people, most people I don't, because it's a lot of followers that I don't know. But for the people that are there, they know me from all different ages and stages of my life. So that's pretty much it. I do love to write. I do have books that I've been writing in like quiet time. Especially during this pandemic, I've written a lot. I've gotten really quiet. So I do have a book that I never quite released. So, it's a process. Like, who knew that writing a book and I will be going through some of the very things that I'm trying to like help people with and understand. God is almost like, all right, like, let me shine this light on you real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, in order to be an effective anything, you got to first master it first before you go try to help or be or teach anybody.
Big fact.
So conversations with my daughter is pending, it's coming, it's my baby. It's something that I feel like is going to be amazing once I actually get it out there. And then also I'm working on an anthology coming up really soon called Journey to Greatness. It's a volume 2 that I'm working with one of my coaches, Sade Why Ado. She's awesome, from Irvington.
That's wavy.
So that should be released, like, I want to say maybe the early part of the year, like maybe January, February. So that's coming right up. We kind of like getting into the whole mode of it now. So that's coming. But that's it.
Wavy. You heard her? Hit her wherever the fuck she said hit her. Feel me? Don't disrespect, but support. Like, for me, I really want this to be a tribe. I'm going to make it a thing, but like AGGs.
Okay.
Above Ground Gangsters.
I love it.
Above Ground Gang.
I love it.
And I'm inducting you into the Above Ground Gang family.
I'm here.
So
I'm here for it.
I'm gonna have all that shit, like shirts, and I'm gonna have apparel and all that shit, but you'll be able to find this on the website, beingamoment.com. I'm definitely putting it up on Anchor. I'm in the process of doing the whole iTunes thing, but I can't do that until the website is like official and I have like a blog post first.
Okay.
But it's gonna be available, YouTube, all that good shit. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you listen to this on Stitcher or Spotify or iTunes or whatever, thank you. I appreciate you listening to this, vibing out with me. Crazy guy from East Orange, New Jersey, just doing hood rat shit with my friends. So until next time, guys, happy another day above ground. I fuck with y'all, love y'all. Peace.
Good morning. Wake up, get dressed, and I'm gone. It's a beautiful day. Let the sunshine pour in. So I'll wait. Okay, let's go in. Hey, good morning. Wake up, get dressed, and I'm gone. It's a beautiful day. Let the sunshine pour in. So I'll wait. Okay, let's go in. Hey.